In this video tutorial for GrandPrix Race Manager, we will complete covering Step 9, which is running the race. In the previous video, we covered the basic usage of the racing screen to run your race schedules and usage of the racing tab on the main screen. In this video we will cover starting new rounds, a Grand Finals round and a Grand Turtle round. Note, starting additional rounds of racing is completely optional. Some organizations may want to only run one round of racing and then give out their awards, while some may want to let each of their race groups run 2 or more rounds. Others may want to take the fastest racers from selected race groups and run them in an overall race, which we call a Grand Finals round. Some organizations may even want to take their slowest racers from selected race groups and run them in a Grand Turtle round. The software is flexible, so you can do any of those scenarios. Please note that when starting additional rounds, results from previous rounds do not carry over to the new round. All racers in the new round will get a clean slate. So, if you are merely looking to get more racing in for all of your racers, it would be better to build first round schedules with more runs per lane. In the software, the purpose of additional rounds is to trim down the number of racers to a more manageable number that will then compete for the trophies. This is the only form of elimination that the software supports. While the software will let you run any number of rounds, we do recommend running no more than a 2-round format. In a 2-round format, the first round gives every racer an equal chance to qualify for the second round. The second round will be of the fastest racers going against each other for the trophies. Creating new rounds, Grand Finals and Grand Turtle rounds are done from the Racing tab of the main screen. However, before doing so, I will verify that all of the heats have been run for this current round. Select each group from the list on the left and look to the not completed count on the right. Those should be 0, of course. If any heats were missed, go back into the racing screen to take care of those. Now, to create a new round for a race group, click on the New Round button. In the New Round wizard screen, select which race group that you wish to create a new round for. Then click on the Next button. If you are using subgroups, you have the option of advancing racers from each subgroup. If you opt to do so, you can then specify how many racers from each subgroup to advance. Your other option is to advance from the overall group standings, regardless of subgroup. Then you would set how many total racers to advance. If this next round will be your trophy round, the rule of thumb is to advance at least twice as many racers as you have trophies to award for that group. That gives a mystery as to who will be receiving a trophy. For this group, I will select the each subgroup option. I'll set 3 racers to advance from each subgroup. Then click on the Next button. If you have a subgroup that you do not want to include in this new round, you can uncheck that subgroup. Once you selected your subgroups, click on the Next button. Then click on the Finish button to create the round. Note, you can use the Help button on the New Round wizard screen to get more information on starting new rounds. The software has created round 2 for my group and has let me know that I need to build a schedule for that group. It then displays the Schedules tab so I can do so. Before I do that, let's go to the Registration tab and take a look at who was advanced to the new round. If I select that group under round 2, I can see which racers were advanced. Looking back at round 1 for that group, I can see the racers that have the finalist box checked for them. If needed, you can add or remove finalists by checking or unchecking the finalist box for a racer, respectively. Note, if there was a tie for one of those top places, the software will advance the extra racer or racers. You do have the option of breaking the tie before finalizing which racers are in the new round. Please refer to the software's help file for information on breaking ties. If you have a large number of ties, you can also consider going ahead and advancing the extra racers to the new round and then running another round afterwards. With fewer competitors to go up against, there is less chance of having ties. Once the finalists are determined, you can use the roster screen to display the finalists to your audience if you desire. When ready, go to the Schedules tab and create a schedule for the new round of that group. However, I will first start a new round for my other group. So, I will go back to the Racing tab and click on the New Round button again. I'll select my other group and then click on the Next button. This time, I will select to advance from overall. I'll set 6 racers to advance in total and then click on the Next button. Click on the Finish button to create the new round. Now, going back to the Registration tab, I'll select that group under Round 2. I see that it has advanced 6 racers to that round. Again, at this point, I can go to the previous round for that group and add to or remove finalists before I create the race schedule for this new round. With the finalists decided, you can use the roster screen to display those racers to your audience, if you desire. Now that I have created new rounds for each of my race groups, I will go to the Schedules tab and create a schedule for each. The steps for making schedules for a new round is the same as it was for round 1, just select the group under the new round. Once you've created the schedules, you will go back to the racing screen and run them. That's all there is to creating a new round. If you need to delete a round, click on the Delete button on the main toolbar. Select the round option. Then select the round number under the race group. Click on the OK button. Confirm the deletion and click on the OK button. Note, you cannot delete round 1. You can delete out results and schedules for round 1, but not the round itself. Now, let's look at how to create a Grand Finals round. A Grand Finals round is where you would advance the top racers from selected race groups to compete against each other in an overall race. For this part of the demonstration, I will switch to a different data file. Click on the Grand Finals button to open the wizard. From the list of groups, you need to select at least 2 groups. If there is a group that you do not want to include in the Grand Finals round, uncheck that group. Once you've made your group selections, click on the Next button. You can advance racers from each group or overall, which is regardless of group. If you select from each group, you can then set the number of racers to advance from each group. If you select overall, you can set the number of racers to advance in total. For example, if you are awarding 3 trophies for the Grand Finals, we recommend advancing at least 6 total racers. I am going to advance 3 racers from each of my groups. Click on the Next button. Then click on the Finish button. The Grand Finals round has now been created. Going back to the Registration tab, you can see which racers were advanced. Again, if there were ties, the extra racer or racers would have been also advanced. If you select the original groups under Round 1, you can see which racers were checked as Grand Finalists. You can add or remove Grand Finalists as needed. You can use the roster screen to display the Grand Finalists to your audience, if you desire. Once you are done reviewing Grand Finalists, go to the Schedules tab and create the Grand Final schedule. Then you can go to the racing screen to run that round. If you need to delete the Grand Finals round, click on the Delete button on the main toolbar. Then select the round option. Select Grand Finals and click on the OK button. You will then need to confirm the deletion. You also have the option of starting a Grand Turtle round. A Grand Turtle round is where you would advance the slowest racers from selected race groups to compete against each other in an overall battle for the slowest racer. Starting a Grand Turtle round is the same as with a Grand Finals round, just select the Grand Turtle button to do so. Deleting the Grand Turtle round is the same as with a Grand Finals round. We've covered creating new rounds, a Grand Finals round and a Grand Turtle round, as well as how to delete out these rounds. If you need more information on creating additional rounds, you can click on the small Help button. This completes our video for creating additional rounds of racing. Stay tuned for our video on Step 10, where we will cover the awards ceremony.